Hello, welcome back to Tottenham Logic TV. Today I want to do a video about Ange Ball and are we starting to see Ange Ball work? And I'm not just talking about the Brentford game, I'm talking about from the beginning to now, from last season to this season. So last season we started off very well. We, in the first 10 games, got 26 points, won 8 out of 10 games. Everything was looking great. Then we lost 4 of our best players in one game, one crazy game against Chelsea, and it started to go pear-shaped from there. But even though we had injured players, and even though when they were coming back, they still weren't fully fit, we had a squad that obviously Ange didn't trust, because you can see now that he's got rid of half of them. And we still showed signs of playing very, very good football. Like, for example, I watched the Tottenham versus West Ham match where we lost 2-1, but in the first half could have been 4-0 up. We were battering them and playing some very, very good football. But then for some reason, we just couldn't sustain it for 2 halves. And West Ham ended up winning 2-1. And I saw the same again when we lost to Aston Villa 2-1. Could have been 4-0 up in that game by half time. And then in the second half again, we just couldn't keep up with the pace. We couldn't keep up with the press, and the players that came on don't press as well as the starting 11. So we just couldn't sustain it for 90 minutes. So I was still seeing good performance, like a 3-3 against Manchester City with Ben Davies and Emerson Royale playing as centre backs. We still drew 3-3 with Man City. So you were seeing that we can play the football. It's just we needed to build the squad to play this football sustainably for 90 minutes. It's not easy. So we had a terrible ending to the season. We were playing Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, all out, one after the other, Newcastle away, where we got battered. And this is when fans slowly started turning against Ange. And I could understand it, but you know, we still had players coming back from injury. There wasn't a flow to our game. Confidence was very, very low. And every week we had to play a very good side. And it was just, and Chelsea, you know, ended the season on massive good form as well. And it just looked probably worse than it was, in my opinion. But this season now, we've started off, in my opinion, if it's just based on how we played and performance-wise, we should have had 12 points. Arsenal done a defensive masterclass against us this season. We've played very, very well. I think we're playing better this year, at the start of this year, than we was at the start of last year, and we've got less points. So it's crazy, really. We went away to Newcastle and absolutely dominated them. That's not an easy thing to do. We played very, very well and just got unstuck. One lapse of concentration. We could have been 4-5 up in that game. Then it's we've battered Leicester. We should have been out of sight against Leicester. Ended up drawing. You know, battered Everton. We played very well against Arsenal, but the final third we just didn't have a clue. And Arsenal's defence is so strong. You could see against City yesterday, where Arsenal had one man less and City still struggled to break them down. So you can understand now. It makes me feel a little bit better about how we weren't creating chances against Arsenal, because Man City couldn't even do it. So, and that was against one man less, and Arsenal were playing literally in their 18-yard box. So I can understand now that how hard that was, because Arsenal's defence are very, very strong. So we've had a very good start. And now recently against Brentford, you see the full flowing Ange Ball. And, you know, we created chance after chance. I think we had 7 shots in the first 10 minutes and 4 on target. And, you know, Solanke ended up getting the equaliser. And so I can see already that Ange Ball has adapted as well this season. I'll get more into that in a minute. So you can see the press now. The press is lasting now for 90 minutes. It's not just lasting for the 45 minutes it was in the first half. So I've seen improvements in the press now. We are, even the players that come on now are younger. If you just look into the signs we made, Archie Gray, Bergvall, Odegaard didn't play against Brentford, but Solanke done an amazing job. It's you can see now why we signed him. It's not just for his goals, and he will score goals, but his pressing, his hold-up play, It's perfect for the system that we're playing. His pressing was relentless for the whole game. And with Kulu doing it, and Maddison's pressing was brilliant as well. And they were doing it for 90 minutes now. And when we were tiring in the second half, which we bring on youngsters and they started pressing, and it was helping. We're not bringing on a Højbjerg now and a Emerson Royale and a, you know, they're not coming on, and Lo Celso and that. They don't press as much as these guys would press, and they're hungry to impress as well. You know, the adaptations that people were saying Ange doesn't do. Well, against Brentford, you saw your doggy playing out more wider. He did come in quite a lot, but he played a much better game out wide. I think Thomas Frank was a little bit baffled by it because he would have been trying to try to figure out Ange ball, and Ange ball adapted, and he didn't know what to do with it. And so he gave Maddison and Kulusevski more space in the middle, and we opened them up time after time. We're conceding less chances now this season than we were last season. I think Arsenal only had 4 chances at goal on target, I think, against us in the whole game, which, you know, we haven't done that for a while either. And they're a very, very good attacking side. We're all obsessed with stats. And again, I look at stats a lot myself, but Ange ball is a collective thing. So he doesn't look at individual stats. He looks at team stats. And, you know, at the moment, the team are now starting to play for 90 minutes, which is very, very hard for the opposition to contend with fast passing, fast pressing continuously through the whole game. So let's stop talking about all this we've been found out bullshit, because we haven't been found out. If we'd been found out, Thomas Frank would have found a way to beat us, and he didn't. He's a very good manager, and he didn't. Newcastle, if you think, right, let's use Newcastle for example. Do you think Eddie Howe purposely told his players to sit back, let Tottenham have many, many chances, hope they don't score, and then we'll counter and we'll win the game? No, because that would be a stupid tactic. So Eddie Howe wouldn't have done that. So if you think we've been found out, then I'm glad that you're not a manager, because that's just a silly thing to come out with. We really haven't been found out. So we've got some tough tests coming up against Brighton and against Manchester United. I'm not going to be flip-flopping Ange in, Ange out. I'm going to be Ange in all the way. And regardless of the results against Brighton and Man U, I'm still going to be Ange in. This will click. This will come together. I'm seeing vast improvements already this season. I really think we'll give Man United a battering, to be honest. And I really think we can get a result at Brighton. But we'll see. We don't know. Anything can happen in football, but I'm much more confident that we can. We've played very well in every single game this season, other than the Coventry game, which was a really bad performance. But other than that, I think we are much stronger this year. Even though we've got less points, I still think we're much stronger this year. I still think our squad players are better because they work the system better. It's all about the system, not about individual £100 million players. It's all about the system, all about the pressing, winning the ball back, playing the ball forward. And we've got players to do that now. Let's get behind Ange. Let's stop flip-flopping every time we lose. Ange out. Let's get behind the players. Let's stop getting at home games groaning when players come on, because they need the support. If they're low in confidence, we need to build their confidence up for them. I'm glad Johnson's starting to prove people wrong. I've always backed him, and I really think he's going to become a very good player this season. Let me know in the comments what you think about Ange Ball, and come on, you Spurs!